are doing digestive, urinary, reproductive, and we would do respiratory normally on this lab. So, for the respiratory, it's in Unit 4, right, because I didn't switch it around. So we're just looking for, like, you know, I want you to be able to find that that's the lungs. This is the trachea. Trachea. Okay, nice, pretty trachea. I think that's about it. So we'll just keep it pretty simple like that. Now we're going to focus in on the digestive unit. So running right behind the esophagus, the trachea would be the esophagus. Now in us, they're physically attached to one another, not so in cats, but this is their esophagus. Okay, so esophagus and trachea. Two completely separate tubes. So I kind of got to go in and reach it up. Okay?
It's bigger than I would have thought.
Yeah. And so you can see them both together. Trachea versus esophagus, that's going to continue down behind the lungs, and then behind the liver, and then it's going to insert into the stomach way down here. This, again, is the diaphragm. We've seen that many times now. Diaphragm, liver, gallbladder. Now, when we look at the stomach, first of all, it's kind of cool. You can see the actual rugae inside. You can see all that neat folding. And then we usually can only get a good, clear shot at one. But if we keep folding, you can see how it gets very tight down in here. We can maybe even go a little further down. See how that looks like, for lack of a better word, a butt? Right? A butthole? This is the sphincter. That's the pyloric sphincter. Okay, so this is muscle in here clamping it down. Now you would have a similar one at the top that wasn't as well formed, but usually we can only get a clear shot of the pyloric, so we won't worry about the cardioesophageal valve. From there, food does pass into the small intestine. You can see it's even C-shaped, the duodenum here. And then it passes into the mass of the small intestine. That's held in place again by the mesenteries. This is that apron that's sat in front, so that's the greater omentum. The lesser omentum is up in here, but we're not going to worry about that one. The liver, and then we have their spleen, the ginormous spleen in the diseased kitty. Pancreas. Let's find the pancreas. To find that, we're going to need to go in here. Here is the pancreas, this sort of blob of brown stuff in here. You can see it's connected over to the small intestine, and then it extends underneath the stomach. Small intestine, this is large intestine. This is basically all colon. So we're not going to dissect down in there. So we're not going to see rectum, you can take that off. And we're not going to see cecum because they really don't have one. So really it's just colon that we're seeing here. They don't have an ascending, transverse, and descending, so it's a moot point in a cat. We've already seen the kidneys, right, off to the side. See one on that side and one on the other. We've even looked at the kidney, the renal vein, and then probably we found a renal artery somewhere in there. Hopefully we can find the ureter, which is going to be the other tube coming off of the kidney. Sometimes we unfortunately destroyed it. Nope, here it is. No? Where the hell is that? Okay, well, maybe we need to go into this side. Whoop. There's the vein. Well, I'm not seeing it real clearly, and I don't want to keep going. So we're going to not worry about the ureter, at least on this guy. This is the bladder, this thing in front. And so theoretically, we could trace the ureter from this, but I'm not even seeing the. Maybe if we just cut
fat that you're cutting.
That's fat, yeah. There's a ureter. There, yay, done. So there's a ureter. Okay.
It's
back behind all this tissue, which is why it's so dang hard to find. Okay, there's a ureter, though, so yay, we get to have that on the practical. So, ureter, urinary bladder, we're not going to worry about urethra. Kidneys, right? This is up next to the kidneys. In a cat, you're going to find the ovary. This is not like that in us. But this little ball at the end is the ovary. This long thing is their fallopian tube. So that's all fallopian tube or oviduct. And then, so if we pull back the bladder, this is the uterus. And then we wouldn't worry about the vagina because we can't see that. Okay?
What's the uterus again? That's the uterus.
Uterus,
Bladder.
bladder. And then let's look at the males.